everyone, and welcome back to Kardec Radio for Teens. I'm Bia, and for those of you who don't know, Kardec Radio for Teens is a place where teens can come together with other teens to learn about Spiritist teachings and topics in a way that makes more sense and is more relatable to us as teenagers in modern society. Together, we've been reading through the Spirits book together because the Spirits book contains most of the fundamentals of Spiritism, but the book was published in 1857. So obviously from 1857 to today, there's a lot of things that are different. So hopefully we can try and put it into our own words, or words that we use, and try and make sense out of what they were trying to say in 1857 to how we would say that now. For the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about guardian angels. We've been reading through that part. And today we're going to continue talking about guardian angels and maybe move on to the next part of the chapter as well. Question 511. Beside our protector spirit, is an evil spirit connected to each one of us for the purpose of leading us into evil and for providing us an opportunity to struggle with good and evil? So we know we've talked about how we're connected to our guardian angel, to our protector spirit, who's a good spirit. They're more evolved than us, and they're trying to help us to the good. So now the question's saying, do we also have an evil one that's trying to push us towards evil and trying to make us make mistakes? And the spirits answered, connected is not the right term. It is certainly true that evil spirits try to draw individuals away from the moral road when they find the opportunity. However, when one of them connects itself to an individual, it does so in its own accord because it hopes to be listened to. This gives rise to a struggle between the good and the evil spirit, and the one whose influence the individual has heeded will win. So connected isn't the right word they're saying here. So we're not all connected directly to this evil spirit, but there are evil spirits in general who are trying to lead us down an evil path, or trying to make us make mistakes. But these could just be evil spirits in general, and not as evolved spirits in general. That doesn't mean we have to have one directly connected to us. But if there is one connected to us, then that spirit, it's trying something specific. It's specifically trying to influence you to do something. And also, again, it's up to the individual if the individual is going to listen to that evil spirit or to the good spirit. And our goal is to push away those evil thoughts and to listen to the good spirit. Question 512. May we have several protector spirits? So can we have more than one guardian angel, more than one protector spirit? And the spirit said, all individuals always have sympathetic spirits who are more advanced or less so, who dedicate their affection to them and who take an interest in them. There are also those who help them in evil. So here they're saying that, so maybe we have one, specific protector spirit, but we also have many sympathetic spirits who might not be directly a protector spirit, but they are trying to help us and to lead us to the path of good. And of course, there's also those spirits who aren't good and who are trying to lead us to the path of evil. So we don't only have a protector spirit, we have other spirits as well who are trying to help us, or sometimes trying to not help us. Question 513. Do sympathetic spirits act in virtue of a mission? So we know that the protector spirits, this is like their duty, that they're doing this, but sympathetic spirits, so they're not exactly a protector spirit. What's their purpose in doing this? Is it a mission? And the spirit said, sometimes they may have a temporary mission, but generally they are only attracted due to a similarity of thought and sentiment in good or evil. So maybe sometimes they have a temporary mission. So let's say a mini mission. So it's not like your protector spirit who has a bigger mission to stay with you for a longer period of time. Maybe they have a little temporary mission, but sometimes, and they said generally, they're just attracted to your good thoughts and your good sentiment, or sometimes the evil spirits are attracted to your evil thoughts and your evil sentiment. So sometimes, yes, it might be a mission, but sometimes it isn't a mission. Sometimes they're just attracted to you. And then there's a second part to this question, and it says, so it is correct to assume that sympathetic spirits may be either good or evil? And the spirits answered, Yes, humans will always encounter spirits who sympathize with them, whatever their character may be. So when they're talking about sympathetic spirits, sometimes when we think, oh, you sympathize with someone, you think, oh, you feel bad for them, you feel their pain, but this always doesn't have to be a good thing. It's not someone's sad and you feel their pain and you feel sorry for them and you want to help them. Sometimes they can be sympathetic and they can relate to you maybe on an evil level, or sometimes it is on a good level. So sympathetic spirits can be good or evil, so we have to be careful which ones we listen to, because it's going to be up to us who influences us. Question 514. Are familiar spirits the same as sympathetic spirits or protector spirits? So now we're talking about familiar spirits. The spirits answered, there are many, many gradations of protection and sympathy. Give to them whatever name you desire. The familiar spirit, however, is usually a friend of the home. So there's lots of different levels of protector spirits. Let's say there's one that's higher evolved, there's one that's less evolved, there's sympathetic spirits who are very attached or not attached. There's lots of different levels of this, and basically they're just saying that's not really important. You can call it whatever you want. But the familiar spirits, when we're talking about familiar spirits, we're talking, usually they said it's a friend of the home. So usually it's a friend. It's not just someone you sympathize with, but someone you knew at some point. And then Allan Kardec puts his own comment in, and he says, from the above explanations and from observations made by the nature of spirits who connect themselves to human beings, we may deduce the following. Protector spirits, guardian angels, or good spirits are those whose mission is to follow humans during life and help them progress. They are always more highly evolved than their ward. So, protector spirits, guardian angels, and good spirits, they're all called the same thing. They're three names for basically the same thing. And those are the ones that they have a mission to be there for you and follow you throughout your corporeal life, your human life, and to help you progress, to help you get better. And of course, these spirits are always more evolved than you are. So if it's your guardian angel, they're going to be more evolved than you are. And then Allan Kardec continues. Familiar spirits link themselves to certain persons by means of ties of varying duration in order to help them according to their power, which is frequently quite limited, however. These are good spirits, but sometimes little advanced and even a little frivolous. They voluntarily occupy themselves with the details of an individual's personal life and only act by order or with permission of protector spirits. So they're saying, so the familiar spirits, they're spirits who, they want to help you, but let's say your mother passed away and she wants to help you, she wants to look after you, but maybe she's not that evolved. So what she's able to do is going to be very limited, and she's only going to be able to do stuff when the protector spirit tells her that she can. But they're connected with this bond they're directly connected with this bond to you, and even though they're good spirits, they're obviously trying to help, so they don't have as much power and influence on us. And then Allan Kardec continues. Sympathetic spirits are those whom we attract to us through individual affection and a certain similarity in taste and sentiments, both in good and evil. The duration of their relationship almost always depends on the circumstances. So, sympathetic spirits are these spirits who we're attracting not because we know the spirit, not because, oh, that spirit was my mom, or that spirit was a friend that I had in some reincarnation, but sympathetic spirits they're just connected to us by, if we have the same thoughts, the same ideas, they get attracted to us, they get connected to us, and they might not know anything about us, but they're connected to what we're thinking and what we're feeling. And they say here that how long this relationship is going to last with sympathetic spirits is really a case-by-case basis. And then Allan Kardec continues, and he says, evil spirits are imperfect or wicked spirits who attach themselves to an individual for the purpose of diverting them from the good. But they behave at their own impulse and not in virtue of a mission. Their tenacity is directly related to how easy or difficult their access to the person is, and individuals are always free to listen to their own voice or to repel them. So now we're talking about the evil spirits. They're these imperfect spirits that they are just attaching and attracting to people who they think they can influence and who they can mess with, let's say. So they just want to kind of mess with you and put you off the track of the good that all the other spirits are trying to keep you on. So, but that's not a mission. No one's telling them, oh, you need to go and do this to that person and give them these obstacles. No one's telling them that. They're just behaving at their own impulse. So, but once again, it's up to us if we're going to listen to them or if we're going to repel their thoughts and realize their bad thoughts. Question 515. What should be thought of persons who seem to attach themselves to others in order to lead them inevitably into perdition, or, on the other hand, to guide them along the path of good? So now they're saying, so what should we think of these people who are attaching themselves to people trying to help them in the path of good? And the Spirit said, some persons exert a certain effect on others. They hold a kind of spell over them that seems irresistible. When this happens for evil, they are in fact evil spirits, whom other evil spirits employ in order to better subjugate the victims. God may permit this in order to test them. So let's say if it's like an incarnated person as well, it could be an evil person, an evil spirit influencing that person with evil tendencies to kind of attach to you while in the corporeal world. And of course people think, oh well, how would God permit that to happen for someone evil to influence you? And God lets this happen because it's to test us, because we're never gonna know that we're good in a situation until we go through it and we can say, okay, there we go, I did it, I'm fine, I know how to do that, or oh, maybe no, maybe I don't know how to do that. Just like any other test that we take in school. You take the test, and if you pass it, then okay, you know the information, you can move on. But if you don't pass it, if you fail it, then we have to keep working on that until you do pass it. Question 516. Could our good spirit or an evil one incarnate in order to follow us more directly in life? So could a good spirit or an evil spirit, could they incarnate so that they can help us directly in the corporeal world? So that they become a friend to us so they can directly help us? And the Spirit said, this sometimes happens, but they frequently entrust this task to incarnate spirits who are sympathetic with them. So sometimes this can happen. They can be there and think, oh, I'm going to incarnate so that I can help this person. But most times, they said frequently, they give this to someone else. They say, oh, this person would be good. And then they kind of ask that person that's going to incarnate or already incarnated, and they kind of get that person to help you instead of them directly incarnating. Question 517. Are there spirits who attach themselves to an entire family in order to protect them? So we're talking about guardian angels who are protecting an individual person, who are protecting just me and you have one, and everyone has their own individual one. But now, could we have spirits or a guardian angel for a family? And the spirits answered, some spirits link themselves to the other members of the same family, who live together and are united by affection. However, do not believe in spirit protectors of race pride. So here they're saying, so sometimes spirits do link themselves together because maybe your family is very similar. So maybe you have a lot of the same things as your mom and your dad and your brother. So you guys are all kind of in tune. So then your spirits kind of connect together to help you as a whole as well. So you're kind of unified. And they said unified by affection. So you guys are unified because you're a close family. So that's how that could happen, how there's spirits protecting over this whole family. But they said, do not believe in spirit protectors of race pride. So not of huge things. It's not that, oh, every single person. We're talking about small individual families that are closely knitted and have a lot of affection, not just, every race has an own group of spirits that's helping them. Question 518. Since spirits are attracted to individuals out of sympathy, are they attracted to groups of individuals for particular reasons as well? So, since spirits out of sympathy, they're attracted to people. So they think, I relate to you, I want to go help you, or sometimes help you on the path of evil. But they sympathize with you. Sometimes, can they be attracted to a big group? And the spirits answered, spirits prefer places where they can be amongst those who are like themselves. In such places, they can be more at ease and sure of being listened to. Humans attract spirits because their tendencies, whether as individuals, as a collective group, a city, or a nation. Thus, there are societies, cities, and nations that are assisted by spirits of greater or lesser advancement, depending on their character and the passion that dominates them. Since imperfect spirits withdraw from those who repel them, the moral purity of a collective whole, like that of the individual, tends to repel evil spirits and attract good ones. The latter awakens and maintains a sense of good in the masses, in the same way that the former may inspire them the worst passions. So what they're saying here is that, spirits, and even people, we like to be around people who are the same as us. So sometimes, even without realizing, we segregate into groups of people who we're similar to. Maybe it's a nationality, maybe it's a belief, but we segregate into different groups. So if our personalities are all kind of the same, then there's chances are that we are linked kind of to the same thoughts. So our spirits can also kind of relate and connect to each other. And so now the spirits are connecting to each other, and so they can, as a group, help us, or again, help us on the path of evil, depending on what our intentions are and what the spirit's intentions are that are influencing us. But the point that we're bringing out here is that we're connected by what we're feeling and our different thoughts and our different perspectives, and that's how we're connected. So if we have a completely different thought and a completely different mindset than someone, we're not going to really connect to them as well. But usually people who have the same mindset come together, and then from there, those spirits will come together because there's a lot of people with that same mindset. Question 519. Do groups of individuals, such as societies, cities, and nations, have their own special protector spirits? And the spirits answered, yes, because such groups are collective individualities that are headed towards a common objective, and therefore have the need of higher direction. So, because they're saying, these groups, there's a common goal. There's some common thing that they're trying to get somewhere with it, or they're trying to maintain something. So they have a goal and they need help. They need higher direction. So they do have protector spirits of a group. Question 520. Are the protector spirits of groups of a more advanced nature than those who are linked to individuals? So, if there's protector spirits of groups, are they more advanced because they're overseeing more stuff than just one person? And the spirit said, everything is related to the degree of advancement, whether of group or of individual. So, what they're saying here is that it's not about if it's a group or an individual, but it's about how advanced they are. So, if an individual is more advanced than the group, then the individual's protector spirit will be of a higher order than of the group's, or vice versa. If the group is of a higher order than the individual, then the groups will have a higher order protector spirit. So it's about how advanced you are, because if you're more advanced, you need something even more advanced than that. So it's kind of like a little ladder. If you're at step 1, you need someone at step 2 or higher. But if you're at step 3, then you need someone at step 3 or higher. At 4 or higher. So it's really not about if it's a group, if it's an individual, if it's a family, but it's more about what the advancement is. Question 521. May certain spirits help the arts to progress by watching over those involved in them? So can spirits help arts to progress just by watching it, or watching over those people who are involved? And the spirit said, there are special protector spirits who assist those who invoke them, and whom they deem worthy. But what could you expect them to do for those whom deem themselves to be something, which in fact they are not? They cannot make the blind see or the deaf hear. So here they're saying that there's some protectors who they kind of, if someone like needs help for a specific thing, they'll come to them, and if it's like a genuine, sincere help, and if they deem it worthy. So if they think that you have a good enough reason that you need help, and if you're being logical that you really need help, they'll come and help you. But it's about the individual, and of course they're not gonna work miracles. Of course, like they said, they can't make the blind see or the deaf hear. So they're not gonna, you can't just pray, oh, please help me see now that I'm blind, but maybe they can help you into other things that will help you with the situation. And then Allan Kardec puts his own comment in. He says, the ancients made special deities of such spirits. The muses were the allegorical personifications of the protector spirit of the arts and sciences, as the family protector spirits were designated by the names Lars and Penates. Among moderns, the arts and various industries, cities, and countries also have their own patrons or protectors, who are high-order spirits, but under other names. So they're saying, when we think back to ancient societies, they had, let's say, gods, they had many gods or protector spirits, basically, for different things. So that's kind of the same concept. So a protector spirit of arts and sciences, like they're saying here, or families, or spirits who are designated to a specific category. And even today we still have that, but of course just under different names. And then Allan Kardec continues, since all individuals have their own sympathetic spirits, it thus follows that in all collective groups, the overall quality of the sympathetic spirit corresponds to the overall quality of the individuals composing them, and that foreign spirits are attracted to such groups out of similarity of taste and thought. In other words, these groups, as well as the individuals comprising them, are more favorable surrounding by protector spirits, or they are less surrounded by them, and they are associated and influenced according to the nature of the thoughts of the majority. So they're saying, so when a group of individuals come together, and if they have, like they said, an overall equality that's the same, then the spirits, the sympathetic spirits, are going to relate to that. They're going to relate to what the majority of the people are feeling. Because if, like we talked about before, the sympathetic spirits are the spirits who are attracted just by similar thoughts and similar feelings. So if a whole group has a similar thought or idea or feeling, then those spirits will be attracted to that whole group. And sometimes this is for the good, but sometimes it's not. And then Allan Kardec continues. Among nations, the cause of attract spirits are their customs, habits, their dominant character, and above all, their laws. For the character of a nation is reflected in its laws. Humans who ensure that justice reigns among them combat the influence of evil spirits. Wherever law consecrates injustice that are contrary to humanity, good spirits are in the minority and a mass of evil ones flood in, keeping the people of that nation stuck in their idea and paralyzing the occasional good influence, which becomes lost in the crowd like isolated stalks of corn in the midst of weed. By studying the custom of nations or of any group of individuals, it is therefore easy to get an idea of the invisible population that is middling in their thoughts and actions. So what they're saying here, he was giving an example about nations. So they're saying that spirits are attracted to the customs, the habits, the character, and the laws. So the spirits are attracted to what this society does, what this nation does. And when it's nations that have unjust laws that are not fair, that sometimes we might look at not fair, but some people don't realize it's not fair. Some people, especially in these countries, don't realize it's not fair. Then the good spirits there that are trying to help, they get kind of overcrowded by these evil spirits that like this injustice. They like this negative thought. They like these bad customs. Or maybe not customs, but maybe they're just not the best customs to have. So now, in this situation, there's a lot more of these evil spirits and bringing these negative thoughts, and they're persuading the people. They're like, oh no, your laws are good. They're telling you your laws are good, your laws are good. And while the good spirits are trying to tell you maybe something needs to be changed, but with more of the evil spirits, those good spirits kind of get forgotten. No one really hears them because there's so many of these lesser evolved spirits that are saying that no, those laws are good. And that's the end of the section about guardian angels and protector spirits. And I know that as we get further in the book, it's getting more complicated and more related to real life. And sometimes when it's related to real life, we get confused and we don't understand. Sometimes it's confusing to see how it relates to our lives. So if at all you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want me to explain something again, I will explain it again on here or personally to you, or give further examples to help explain it as we do get further and further into the book and we get in more detail and more related to our lives. Before we leave off today, I'd like to read our book, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations, by Linda Picone for today's date, November 21st. This one's titled Listening. Listening, not imitation, may be the sincerest form of flattery. We are drawn to people who understand us. And how do we know we're understood? Because people who understand us ask us questions, listen to the answers, encourage us to elaborate, and respond directly to what we say. Real attention is one of the nicest, most meaningful things we can give anyone. We don't do it often enough. I want to make sure that I listen to others carefully and sincerely. It will make them feel good, and I can learn a lot too. Before we leave off, I'd just like to once again remind about the essay contest, because I know we all have break this week, so if you do have some spare time and you would like to write this essay contest, it's for teens from the age of 13 to 19 to write about an instance of divine love that they've experienced. You can have any background, any religion, and there are prizes for the winners of these contests. So if you do want more information, please send me an email at kardecradioforteens@gmail.com and I'll get back to you right away. I'm Bia, and this is Kardec Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening. This has been Kardec Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening.